In Satisfactory, we have tons of methods of transport. If we think about it, we have vehicles, trains, at a push even drones, but also the Blade Runners, the parachutes and jetpacks. Well, today we're going to be talking about another addition with Update 4, which is the Hoverpack. Now we'll be talking about its uses and why you want to be getting your hands on this before building a mega factory, and how best to optimize your factory for the Hoverpack itself. Now the Hoverpack, similarly to drones, is unlocked in tier 7 of the hub and allows us to hover in midair as long as we're within 36 meters radius of a power point. And once the hub tier is unlocked, you can build the Hoverpack in the equipment workshop with 8 motors, 4 heavy modular frames, 8 computers and 40 alclad aluminium sheets. Now in order to balance the Hoverpack against the jetpack, it currently can only run off power provided by your factory. This stops it from being useful when it comes to exploring, unlike the jetpack. Although I would love to see the Hoverpack being able to consume batteries should we wish to work further away from our factories, or to set up mini factories outside of our current power infrastructure. Currently, the power point needs to be at most 36 meters away, and you can tell how far you are from the power source by looking at your Hoverpack's charge icon. This is both on the HUD UI, but also if you are in photo mode, you can actually see it on the actual controllers themselves as well. Now, if it's full, you're close to a power point, and if you're further away, it will gradually decrease in bars until the power cuts out. Unfortunately, higher tier power poles do not boost the network for your Hoverpack, though this would be a great addition to see. Now, I should also mention that it requires a minimum of 100 megawatts to run, so make sure you have some power spare. Oh, and a quick note on power: it must be from power generators other than biomass generators. It'll simply not draw energy from them. As you fly between power points, you can see power arcs connecting you to them. As you jump between these connections, you'll also notice your Hoverpack drops a little, but don't worry, it should reconnect automatically. And even if you are away from power, you can also slowly descend to the floor by pressing and holding the ascend button. Should you wish to fall quicker, you can cut the power altogether by double tapping the descend button. Just catch yourself before you hit the ground. With each connected power point serving as a point of contact and lift for your Hoverpack, this can make building within your factory incredibly easy. However, power cables do not count towards charging stations, so you may need to move closer to the power points in order to maintain your hover height. Another great addition with the Hoverpack is that it actually increases the distance away from an object you can have in order to interact with it. For example, rather than running up to each individual building to set a recipe, you can actually do it from 20 meters away, which makes the Hoverpack more efficient when it comes to building larger factories, not just for the scale and ease of building, but also for the ease of sorting out the recipes as well. Unfortunately though, this does not work whilst running around with a Hoverpack equipped. It needs to be hovering, something that I'd actually like to see changed later on. This though, coupled with Hoverpacks having a max sprinting hover speed of over 46 kilometers an hour, makes them almost as fast as Blade Runners, which isn't bad at all, but the idea of littering your factories full of power poles really isn't appealing to a lot of us. So sure, if we have plenty of buildings running, we should be fine, but I personally prefer the idea of optimizing our factories to allow for better Hoverpack usage. You'll notice that most of my factories have rather high ceilings. Now this is a great place to put your power points so that they're out of the way and allow you to fly throughout your build, avoiding any buildings in your path or using excessive amounts of power poles. This is the first and easiest solution to providing power. However, another system I'm keen to play around with is placing rails directly above or underneath the floor or ceiling. So train rails actually act as a constant source of power, which is one of the main reasons for using trains to connect your hub or main factory with further away factories, as you'll be able to run them all on a single power network. And also using rails also means that you negate that drop when switching between power connections. As you can see here, I've done a whole floor with rails and run them into separate parallel lines from one point of power source, the train station. Now doing this means that I can fly across the whole space, and then the next thing that I can do is then place a foundation above them to create a floor of endless power. If you do this though, I recommend connecting it to a station which doesn't have any trains running through. That way you won't have the odd crazy train line running through your factory. I'd rather keep it as a separate section altogether and then cover it with a wall to cover the train station. Now, if you do opt for a train line under the flooring, then you can easily add power joints to the ceiling to give you a spacious 14 walls of height to fly between. And if you want, you can easily swap out ceiling joints for ceiling lights to make your factory a little lighter or to focus on various details within your factory. So although the Hoverpack isn't particularly useful when it comes to exploring, it is incredibly useful when building, especially when building larger factories like a mega factory. And for more tips on mega factory builds and logistics, then make sure to check out my previous videos that I've put on the channel already. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you did find it helpful, and thank you so much to our amazing supporters, most notably our Solar Eclipse Patreons, The Calamity and Cerebral Tag, as well as our Lunar Eclipse Patrons, Dixie Chris and James Irwin, as well as our Blood Moon of the Day, Kareev Johnny. Anyway guys, until next time, as always, ciao for now.